Honorable greetings to you, my fellow royals. As you know, it is World International Indigenous Peoples Day. Yours truly here, Her Highest Imperial Majesty, Goddess Sastra Trinity L, also known as Sinika Simmons Solomon Adams Maha'Bal, and my indigenous appellation, which is passed on from my ancestry, is White Hawk Rainbow. So I am Queen Chief White Hawk Rainbow, and what I'm here to ask is that, pertaining to this circumstance where I had a letter, I had some information placed out there in the public domain. It is in no way to be of any harassment or to be a nuisance to any being, yet rather me operating in my true justice and honor as my indigenous declaration of my rights speak, in the scope of the United Nations as well as the Americas, as the Caribbean here is inclusive of the Americas. We are American Indigos as in Indiana. All right, so I wrote regarding to that, as well as I have another question to ask regarding what does a person really see as when it comes to restriction of movement. When you are restricting a being from the ability to move, it entails where beings are not being compensated on time. All right, when a being doesn't really have, let's say, what is used to pay the toll to go to and from a place, whether it is on the landmass of Alubera, which is Tobago, or Kairi, or wherever it is on the landmass of planet Kai, which is Mama Earth. Should I not have fiat on me, how am I able to move from destination 1 to destination 2 or 3 without the fiat and without any system in place that would allow me, the indigenous sovereign royal, the primordial indigenous sovereign royal heir of my freedom of movement, which speaks in the retrospect of my rights? So when I am not being able to have compensation, I am now then placed in a circumstance that is like a mental prison as well as a physical prison, because I am not able to mobilize as freely as I am able to, because what is needed to take me from point A to point B is what I do not have in my possession, which is the fiat. Hence the reason for speaking the way that I speak, as well as also making it aware again that I am Her Highest Imperial Majesty, allodial title and riparian rights holder, as well too of what I speak on as my Murish, MU''URISH, and not the double O. Murish ancestry and roots speaks of who I am as Asiatic, British, European, American, Indian, royal. All right, so I have my sovereignty of Britain, sovereignty of the Americas, sovereignty of Tamarica and Tataria as my royalty speaks, as I am of the primordial lineage, the primordial waters of the source of origin. All right, hence me saying that I am Mur, MU''UR, and not MOOR, which is a misconception as well as a misclassification of the true primordials. All right, so my roots and ancestry, as I've mentioned, I've had a 6-time great-grandmother and also 6-time great-grandfather, Charles Lee Simmons. They have met whilst working in the Navy. And another question is, even though they were working there, and wheresoever they have contributed in the shipyard, I may not know the entire operation and the physical of where they have been to and from. They are still Navy SEAL. Okay, so if a being is working, if a being who is in the regiment is working at the army base, is he not a soldier? All right, he is. All right, so same applies with my ancestry and roots. So now that I have the beings from the U.S. Navy SEAL right here, I have seen that they are right here, and they are docked in Port of Spain, which should be changed as well soon from Port of Spain to the port of Kairi, because we're moving everything that Columbus has placed there aside from just a monument, and we will be refurbishing it with restoring that which is a wealth identity of the landmass of the Americas, which is in the retrospect of the primordial indigenous sovereign royal heir, and no one else, because we are the primordials. All right, no one else deserves that position more than a primordial sovereign royal heir. This is not to play any political games and the gimmicks and thing with the livelihood of our people. We need to let go of that poor etiquette and conduct and the way we operate as leaders in positions, because what it does in the end is create tension among the being. It harbors more poverty on the land mass. It has the land poor and distasteful. The energy vibration frequency reduces more than it uplifts and nurtures. All right, so I love and appreciate all that is being done in the present day activities of, service being delivered, and, where it is being more honorable instead of ignorant and in compliance to when a being is, seeking service from the positions where members of the corporate de facto government have, took an oath of office for. So you need to protect every single being. When I say that, as in you took an oath of office for something, all right? And the Constitution of the Republic of the Trinidad and Tobago does not protect the primordial indigenous rights of the indigenous people. So on this World Indigenous Day, International Indigenous Day, I speak in that retrospect. Another thing I have an issue with is when you go to the these places known as the police station and such. So I spoke to an officer regarding a circumstance, and it's the negligence, ignorance, and incompliance to even not seem harsh or tense when a being who is in need of assistance with a tone that makes no applicable sense. All right. So with that, we have armed forces members as well as also the police service members being unreliable. And it's not the first time, it's not the second time, and I am truly sure that I'm not the only being who could say such as well too. So I have actually mentioned my living experience whilst being on the landmass of Alubera, which is Tobago, right here. And I have had the poorest service, and it is in the scope of even reaching as far as exploitation, because the beings from chief secretary to councillor member as well are fully aware of who I am. They know who I am. All right, health minister, tourism minister, educational minister, their assistant as well to our advisors also know who I am. Okay, as well as the necessary spaces I have got. I have sent information to, and the intentional ignorance is what would have what would have the negativity destroy itself. Okay, so I'm not here to be negative at all or to harbor any bacchanal or drama. I am seeking my justice. As I said, I have a medical appointment, and these beings refuse to even respond in a way where urgency is needed. A medical appointment and you refuse to be urgent. Should this be a life-threatening case, you are showing me that you would rather a being go through the pains of sufferation, because you in your own heart and mind prefers sufferation yourself instead of anything righteous. That is what you all are showing me. It's not a matter of I is this member. No, the highest jurisdiction is to the crown, and the crown is who I am as Queen Chief White Hawk Rainbow. Queen Elizabeth II is Elizabeth Rainbow. All right. So from House of Tudor, House of Windsor, House of Hanover, House of Habsburg Lorraine are all my ancestry roots. I do not know if I have to speak a different language for these people to comprehend. However, what I've realized is that when beings right here locally are corrupted, I would have no other choice but to reach out to higher spaces. And I am not waiting until they respond for me to have justice. It is beyond 24 hours since I have some cash in my hand and they are withholding me from moving and disrupting what is the common law, the natural law, as well as the divine law. You are breaking the law. This is not maritime corporate de facto statutes and policies. All right, we need to fix